Welcome back. The Spencer High School Drama Department is preparing for the spring performance of the musical Children of Eden.
Ever since I was a freshman, I was interested in like the theater and stuff, and it's really fun. And we kind of wanted to do a musical again instead of a play for the spring production, so that we had a chance to have it feel a little bit more normal.
I kind of started my theater background as a sophomore. As a freshman, I played in the pit for the musical Oklahoma, and then I decided that I would like to try out for the musical The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And then this year, I decided to try out for the Children of Eden because it's a very interesting play. A lot of the takes of the characters and just the setting of the book of Genesis that people pretty much know well is very different and very nuanced. The first story is the story of Adam and Eve and the tree of knowledge, where the snake seduces Eve into eating an apple and then gets Adam to eat the apple, and God then expels them from the Garden of Eden, burns it down, and sends them into the wasteland for them to live out. And then it continues on through that with the birth of Cain and Abel and how Cain kills Abel. And then after that, it kind of switches into Noah's Ark after the opening second act song, Generations, talks about how Noah made this ark and God said to create this ark because I'm going to flood the earth. So I play the father, which is technically our God in the show. He's more grounded, down to earth, kind of like your very strict kind of dad that tells you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And progressively through the show, he gets more and more open and less very strict and very follow my rules about everything.
I play Yona in the second act, and she is really determined and independent in what she does. She doesn't like being told what to do or people having pity for her, and she goes on this journey and is taken on the ark and basically just is there most of the time, but she has a personality too. There's things going on the stage, but then we also have storytellers who are telling the story too. And it's interesting because you have to listen to what the storytellers are singing or saying to understand what's going on stage. And then also for the ensemble pieces, there's lots of choreography and singing, and there's just always lots of things going on.
The show is very interesting. It can also be very funny and heart-wrenching, and there's a lot of unique things that happen along set-wise and character-wise through the show that really catches the eye and really just stands out.
There's so many emotions that go on through the play. It'll make you happy, it'll make you sad, and there's so many characters, like different characters who have different personalities, and it's like you're watching a movie almost. It's really great. We just thank our sponsors for helping us and donating money so we can use it for like props and set and costumes and stuff like that.
We maneuvered it a little differently than we did Upstage by a Pandemic, because that was so much different than anything we've done, and we got to do something more normal this year, and like we had done previous years in the past. And it was a lot easier, but it was also a chance for us to try a lot of new things that we didn't get the opportunity to do in Upstage.
The show is April 9th, 10th, and 11th. The 9th and 10th is at 7:30 p.m. and the 11th is at 2 p.m. They can get it at the SHS Drama website, which is spencerhsdrama.wixsite.com.
And tickets are available to the public on Thursday.
Yes, $5 for students and $10 for adults. There's online as well as in person. In person is with masks and limited seating, but that's about it.
If you ever spot a poster in the public in the window, there's also a barcode you can scan to get to the website directly if you wanted to get to it that way. I am Aisha. It was hard for me to even say that at first, but she didn't have a lot to start with as character, but it was fun to build a character development for her and experiment with what I wanted to do with her and how I wanted her to act, because I could sort of give her a personality that wasn't already scripted, and it was fun.
Well, I am the head of the snake, so I'm trying to get Eve to eat one of the fruit of knowledge, so I have to be very convincing and slick, which is a really, really fun time. I also sing the Generation solo, which is a really fun song to sing, so yeah.
He gets all the fun things.
I think it's going fairly well. There, as usual, are a couple things that come up, but we've gotten through pretty much everything, so yeah, it's going pretty smoothly.
Yeah, last night it was our first full run through, and we can tell it's coming together better in every day of rehearsal. And there's a lot of work to do, but we're definitely getting on it. Yeah. Yes, we have 4 sponsors. Each of them donated $1,000. The first one is Dell's Garden Center, and we also have Geyer and Binzer Orthodontics, and we also have Community State Bank and Cardell Leasing. And they are all been very kind and have gotten in lots of contact with us and been very generous, and we are very thankful for their donation because it has definitely helped a lot in putting this show together.
It's a really fun show. It's a lot of fun to watch and also be a part of. So a lot of really unexpected things happen that you don't think you would see in a show like this, but yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, and it's based off the book of Genesis, which a lot of people are familiar with, so it's cool to see that portrayed on a stage by us high schoolers and see us act and live as those characters. So it's fun, yeah.
The show dates are the April 9th, 10th, and 11th. The 9th and 10th are at 7:30 p.m. The 11th is at 2 p.m. You can get tickets on our website, and you can find the website by looking up Spencer hsdrama.wixsite.com, or you can scan the QR code on the posters to get to the website.
Well, I was really looking forward to getting to do somewhat more of a normal musical aspect for this show in comparison to our fall show, and I thought that it would be a fun cast. And I had participated in the show before when it was done at SET, and so I had already known some of the music and knew what a fun show it was.
So much like Sean, I had also been part of the children's ensemble once when they did it at SCT, and I was excited to see what we could bring to the table in doing it again, and also getting more of like a normal experience.
I guess both for Adam and Noah, they're kind of the connection to father in this sense, and laying down the rules and trying their best to keep their children from making their mistakes. And I view him more as a leader, but kind of almost a leader by example. And so it's been an interesting task fitting into that role and doing my best to state what I know to be true at that moment.
So my 2 characters are actually pretty different, which has been kind of hard. But Eve is kind of more of a childish character towards the beginning. She's very curious, always wanting to explore. But Mama in Act 2, she's more of a wise, older woman, and so she kind of takes it upon herself to kind of calm her children down, and she's not as curious in that way. I think it's coming together really well. All of the aspects of the show, tech, dance, singing, all of it is fitting together really well.
Yes, I was a little worried at the beginning, the break for spring break that we have here for a few days, but I think we're definitely right on track for a good opening night for sure.
Definitely some of the technical aspects with the set. We have a lot in store when it comes to that. I think it's going to be a really good surprise for them, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it.
I think there's definitely, like she said, a good balance between the technical elements and the acting portions of the set, and I think it's a really cool feeling with especially all the storytellers here that will help us really tell the story and narrate, so we make sure we know exactly what's going on.
It means a lot to me just because of, all the experiences this year that have had to be different because of everything that's been going on. But I think it's going to be kind of a humbling experience for all of us to be able to experience a normal thing for all of us.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely always enjoy the musicals as well. Normally they're just in the fall, and this year we get a chance to turn it right around and go into a different musical and incorporate what we've learned already from that fall show.
This show kind of has something to pull everyone in, whether they're more into the acting, singing, dancing, or more interested in the set elements. There's something to draw everyone in that'll grab their attention, not just specific things.
Yeah, and to go along, I think the music has a good variety. You know, some songs sway this way, some are a little bit different, but I think overall the music is really good and people will enjoy listening to it and understanding the story that goes with it.
I want to give a quick thanks to our sponsor, because without them we would not have been able to accomplish everything that we have with this show.
Actually, I've done this show before. I participated in Children of Eden with SCT a couple years ago and loved it then. So you can imagine just how excited I was to hear we are doing it again this spring. And I was young at the time. I played young Cain, or young Abel back then. And I was really, really excited to see what I can do and kind of how I've progressed. Right now, Cain, Cain and Abel, they're different. They have their differences. I'm really excited about playing Cain. It's, in theory, the part I wanted. It's just about what you can hope for. Cain's a really passionate person, and he has a lot of drive to do what he wants. And I think I could tell you, in some fairness, that he is kind of what makes the show really curious, or at least one of the integral parts of that. Cain's a rangy character. He sings high, and it's hard to kind of conquer, Cain and Abel. I'm not gonna spoiler here. He does kill his brother. And it's kind of hard to work through how a person goes through that, and kind of how involved you have to be as an actor. The set has had a number of difficulties. The first one that we decided we were going to look at was what exactly we wanted it to look like, because you have to create a garden and a boat, and that was about it. We just needed people on the stage. So working together, we worked through some ideas, and we have a couple brilliant ones. There are things to see for sure. Involved, there are some interesting technical aspects that Spencer hasn't necessarily seen. We have a revolve, and that's a proud accomplishment of mine. Yeah, the set's been lots of fun. I'm kind of passionate about, creating that vision and putting it all together. I discovered it here. I've undergone a number of interesting projects. This one is maybe the greatest of them, just because it's so complex in its design, and its creation, its ideas. I think everyone should come see the show because it has a lot to offer people. We are going through what exactly we are excited about in this show, and the theme, it can range. We are talking about generational conflict, and that's really eye-opening because you really do get to see it. But the entire show is, so driven by these passionate people, and it's really, really exciting. It'll be something to see.
This is a show that I have had a really close relationship with for a long time. When it came out in 1990, 97, 98, I was graduating from college and was listening to the soundtrack. And as a 21, 22-year-old female, I was really empowered by the strong female characters and moved by that. But then my second brush with it was when we did it at SET, and I was the music director and also mentoring the intern that was the director for the show. And my son was in it, and I had 2 little kids. There was definitely a different approach, and it was a class of seniors that was graduating and on their way out. It really connected to the message of thankfulness for those relationships that we'd built. But now, 5 years later, parent of a tween on his way into teenager life, and just growing up as a parent myself, it's a whole different show, and I'm really excited to feel with this show a different way every time. And I think that that's just something that's really unique about how this story is told, and using the biblical stories, but not necessarily in telling the Bible stories, but in using the relationships that are built, is that any other show that I've I've done again, directed a second time, they always touch you in a different way, but the message doesn't seem to evolve as much as this one is. So I'm really, really excited to see how the audience perceives, the newer version of directing that I've done in this show. So in the fall, when we did Upstaged by a Pandemic, it was a labor of love for sure, wanting to give the kids something, and piecing together what we knew a musical to be, and trying to replace something, and I think we did a fantastic job. I would not, that's one of the blessings that the pandemic actually gave us. We thought outside the box, we created together, we leaned on each other, we found talents that some of us didn't know we had. But no matter what, it still wasn't a musical. And when it came time to look at what we were going to do for the spring, and numbers were better for COVID, and we were, our activities director, Mr. Chapman and I sat down and talked, and I said, I think we should do a musical. He said, that's a lot more work. I said, it brings in more money usually. People are more interested in the musicals. I said, let's just do it. So we're doing it 2 weeks shorter. It's normally an 8-week process. We're trying to get it done in 6. But the kids you could feel when we were reading different shows that they wanted to do a musical. They wanted to be back on stage celebrating in this way. And it's not that straight plays are not good. It's just they wanted something that felt like normal, felt like what they missed. And so we'll turn around, and essentially, because Hunchback was the last musical, was the last full production, and then we missed Clue, and Upstage wasn't really that kind of a show, it's more of a cabaret thing, we'll do this musical, and we'll turn around and do another musical back to back. So it'll be 3 in a row, but I think, one of the kids touched on this, that the lessons they're going to take from this and carry them right into the fall is going to make for some amazing growth. But that was really it. The kids wanted a musical, and I love musicals. Actually, my master's is in educational leadership, and I wrote my final project was about student-directed learning. And it's been extremely important to me that you put the responsibility on them. I'm there to catch them, when they struggle with something. I'm there to guide them, but that they get to make decisions and that they're learning hands-on, because the greatest way to learn is to fail. And so when they struggle with something, it's okay to struggle, and it's okay to not be satisfied and to continue to work harder and find something else. So Mr. Unti had left us with a strong foundation, and student leadership was not something completely out of the ordinary. I think because I teach full-time and have all of the music duties, it has increased the amount of student responsibility, but I think in a good way. So we miss some things along the way. They're still kids and they're learning, but it's extremely important to me that kids have a hand in, and then they can take pride in ownership. The Iowa High School Musical Theater Awards recognizes students doing the work, and I think that's important. I think the kids already covered all the sponsors, but I really this is the first time we've gone about it this way, and it has been so nice to be able to look at the kids and say, you've got everything that you need. Let's do this. So I can't say thank you enough to Dell's Garden Center, to Community State Bank, to Geyer Binzer, and Cardell Leasing Performance Car and Truck for their generous donations to make sure that we could have this production. because these kids are amazing and they get up every single day and keep working no matter what's going on around them. Please come out and reward them with your attendance the way that we reward other activities, because their hard work and their passion lies here, and they're putting it on this stage, and it is going to be amazing. So many heartfelt moments, some lightheartedness along the way, some heavy stuff. It's deep. This show is everything, and these kids are everything, and I don't think there'll be anybody that comes to the show and regrets it.
Get your tickets today and plan to support the drama department on April 9th, 10th, or 11th. Stay tuned. I have more coming up right after the break.